Hi guys, I'm Veronica and welcome back to my story island. I've got a massive book haul for you today, guys. I mean, seriously, massive. It's, I think, over 35 books, although I don't have them all with me at the moment. But let's see how much we end up with. It's going to be quite a while, so I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, not going into too much detail about each one. I will do them in order of when I got them because the most books that I'm going to show you today I got in the UK with my best friend Lucy from Blackbird Talks Books, and partially also with Lisa from City of YA Books. We got them together and it was so amazing to go on that trip with them, and I had so much fun. So I've got a massive pile to show you. But first of all, when we met Lisa from City of YA Books, she was so sweet. She brought some books of hers that she wanted to give to us to read because she loves those books. We split them up. Lucy got 2 and I got 2, and I ended up with these 2 beauties. First of all, The Hollow by Jessica Fadday. I actually don't know what this is about. Let me read the blurb quickly. I see Drop Dead Gorgeous, Caspian, who keeps reappearing in her life. Sounds like my cup of tea. Do you like those kind of books? Oh, it's about a cemetery and all kind of paranormal romancy things. Lisa knows I love these and I know she loves these as well, so that's why we're book twins basically. We're book sisters for life. And I can't wait to get started on this one. But first, I've got to show you another book. And this one is pretty important to Lisa and to me now as well, which is The Demon Trappers, Forsaken and Forbidden by Jana Oliver, which is her favourite book of all time. Well, these are the first 2 bound up. I mean, it's huge. This is a fairly unknown book, but I've heard great things about it, mostly from Lisa, but still, I think it's going to be amazing to read. So I'm so excited to start this series. Next up are all the books that I physically bought in the UK. There are a lot. I'm not going to show you in order of which I bought them because I honestly can't remember, so I'm just going to show you one at a time. First up, I got A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, which I think you've heard about. It's been pretty hyped up. It's about parallel worlds and travelers, magicians, and it's just sounding so interesting, and I love everything to do with parallel worlds really. So this is definitely something that's right up my alley. Slated by Terry Terry. Yeah, Terry Terry. Sorry, I thought I got that wrong, but her name is Terry Terry. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I hope so. But this is a book about a girl who has no memory of her past because she's been slated, which means that her memory got erased because she used to be a criminal, at least according to the government. So her memories got erased and she got a new chance, so to speak. But slowly her memories start to return and she feels like something is very off about this world. It's a dystopian, I believe. It sounds amazing. This is a trilogy, and I think this is a trilogy, and I know at least 3 books are out, so I think it's completed. I'm going to start on this one, and if I like it I'll probably buy the rest. It does sound good though, although I just don't know what else to expect from it except like blank memories and mystery and action. So I'm very curious to see how this ends up. I also got Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by April G. Ducholk, which is, I think, like a horror-y, thriller-y kind of story about the devil. You stop fearing the devil when you're holding his hand. It sounds pretty interesting. I know this is a duology, Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea and Between a Spark and a Burn, I believe. I've heard many mixed reviews on this. Some love it, some liked the first book but didn't like the second at all. I'm just going to give it a shot and see what I think of it. Sorry if I'm talking way too fast, but that's just the way I talk. Ask anyone who knows me. Next up is The Magician's Apprentice by Trudy Canavan. Canavan? I don't know how to pronounce it. But this is a prequel to The Magician's Guild, which is a book that Lisa loves. So she really recommended this to me because this is basically a standalone which takes place before the Magician's Guild. And she thought I would love this, even though I'm still kind of hesitant when it comes to high fantasy books because sometimes I can really get into them and otherwise I just get bored. But she thinks I would really love this, and if I do love this I'll of course buy the Assassin's Guild and all the other books in this series. But it's a beast of a book. 700 pages, people. It's about 700 pages. I really have to sit down for this one and take my time. But I'm really curious because this really sounds amazing. I'm going to go into this pretty dead blind and I think I'm going to really enjoy this. Thank you, Lisa, for this recommendation. Next up, I've got Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. And I had to have this. I wanted it a long time ago, and I actually saw it in a bookstore, but Lucy was faster than me and she got it before I could buy it. So yeah, so I finally bought it in England, and I know book 2, The Wicked Will Rise, is out already. This is about the Wizard of Oz, if you couldn't see. This is about what if another girl from Kansas was brought into the Oz world. And she was about to be an assassin and basically kill off Dorothy and all the other friends. Well, I've been in love with The Wizard of Oz ever since I saw the movie when I was really little. I loved it, I knew the songs, I knew everything. And then I bought Wicked, a book by Gregory Maguire, which is about the story of Elphaba and Glinda. Elphaba, which is the Wicked Witch, and Glinda, which is the Good Witch. The story before Dorothy ever came to Oz. There's another sequel to Wicked, which is called Son of a Witch. Yeah, I still find that funny. And there's many more books that take place in Oz, and it's a bit more ironically written. It's pretty dark material, not as funny as the musical made it seem. I'm really interested in that sort of stuff, and this is basically the same thing. This is about what if another girl from Kansas had been brought back. And she is recruited into the, what does it say? The Revolutionary Order of the Wicked, and she gets tasked to remove the Tin Woodman's heart, steal the Scarecrow's brain, take the Lion's courage, and then Dorothy must die. And I'm so curious to read this because, as I've said, I've been obsessed with Oz ever since I was a little girl, and I want everything that has to do with it in my hands or on my TV or whatever, and I'm so excited to read this. Next up, I have Deep Water by Lou Hershey, and this is basically about a story of a girl who finds out that something in her family is off, and she's like a magical creature or something like that. Little, at least a bit more paranormal than she expected it to be. There's a strange legacy, let's just say. That says on the back there's a strange legacy and her mum has disappeared, and it's going to be crazy. I think it has something to do with like mermaids or something like sea gods. At least that's what I'm guessing. But I'll see when I read it. So, Deep Water by Lou Hershey. And I've got Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls by Lynn Weingarten, which is about, I think, a friend who's trying to figure out why her best friend killed herself. Well, if she was killed herself or if she was murdered. That's basically, it's a bit of a thriller, and she's trying to find out what truly happened that day. I'm truly curious about this. I got High Society by Ellie Carter, which I've seen her series around before, like the High Society series and Tell You Love You But Then I Have to Kill You series about spies, and this one is about basically criminals who heist stuff like Ocean's 11 vibe, Ocean's 12. I'm really curious about this. Don't know what to expect, except that I think it's going to be funny as heck. When I saw this next book, I got so excited and I just had to have it, like at any cost. And that was The Bay Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan and Maureen Johnson. I love the Mortal Instruments, I love the Infernal Devices, and well, Magnus is in all of them. So I'm so curious to read these. This is a compilation of novellas about Magnus Bane from the different parts of his life. Stories about what Magnus hinted to in either the Infernal Devices or the Mortal Instruments, like stuff that happened, and even some parts from his point of view of the events in the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices. So I'm really curious to read this. I love Magnus Bane and I can't wait to hear from his point of view. When I left England, at least when I was at the airport about to catch my flight, I walked into the W.H. Smith and I found Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, which is a book that I was looking for the entire time I was in the UK, because I really finally wanted this book, even though it's huge and the rest of the series is only bigger and it's a pretty long series. So I was intimidated to start the series at first, but I finally bought the first book. I will read this first to see how I like it, and then probably buy all the other books. I also bought The Dead House by John Kortachik. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry if I pronounce it completely wrong, which is probably what I did. But this is about, I think, ghosts or curses, or at least dark stuff. I really love the way these pages it's like splatters on each page, and that's just amazing. I think it's a bit of a horror story, curses, but people who disappeared, and I don't know if I ever dare to read this at night, so I probably have to finish it during the day and then try to go to sleep, because I'm not good with creepy stuff, but I'm willing to give this a try. This one I bought because I just couldn't bear to walk out of the store without it, especially after meeting with Lisa, and that was Briar Rose by Jada Oliver. Jada Oliver is her all-time favourite author. When I saw this, I knew I had to buy it. I know it's a fairy tale retelling about Sleeping Beauty, and I love fairy tale retellings in any shape or form. So even if it wasn't Lisa's favourite author, I probably would have bought this anyway, because I love fairy tale retellings of any kind. So I can't wait to start Briar Rose. Hi guys, I'm probably not standing in the same space right now. That's because my camera chose to die on me today. So let's continue. Next up I bought Darkmere by Helen Maslin, which is actually a pretty close friend of Lisa's as well. She really convinced me to buy this book, and I can't wait to get started on it. It sounds interesting. I really like that on the back it says, like, if you want to try it, read a page number, which in this case is page 23, which is about at the part where their cell phone stopped working in the middle of a forest. I really think this is about ghosts, or like someone inherits a castle in this book. That's all I needed to know. It sounds really awesome. There's a curse involved, and it's a pretty dark sounding book, but I'm very curious, especially this is Helen's debut novel, I believe, and I will definitely post a review once I've finished this. So in the UK I also bought a book that I've already read beforehand, and that was The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas. I read it on my tablet. I didn't own a physical copy yet, and I really wanted it after finishing this. I love the 5 novellas that are in this book, and I'm so happy I own a physical copy now, because at the moment my entire Sarah J Maas collection is completely, well, complete, for now at least. And I bought The Accident Season by Moira Fowley Doyle, which I'm quite curious about a world where there's an accident season, a season in which everything goes wrong, I think, and people die all the time. And I'm just curious to see why that is, so that's all I know about it. Now I'm really curious, so yeah. And I also got The Queen of the Tearling, the UK version by Erica Johansson. I really like this cover, although I do really love the hardback version. That is just truly gorgeous. But first I wanted to read it to see if I'd enjoy it, considering there's very mixed reviews on BookTube and Goodreads. But I'll give it a whirl anyway. Next up, I bought a series that I really wanted to buy earlier in the Netherlands, right over here, but it got sold out. It was a box set, and it was sold before I could get to it. So I bought them in the UK, considering I really wanted the UK editions of these books, considering they're absolutely magnificent. And that is the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. I mean, look at them. Look at them. They're so pretty and blue. And wait, these are way too heavy to hold up for a long while. But they are gorgeous, and I love the idea of a world where the bad guy won, and we're living in that world, and we're seeing what happens next. I also love the idea of how magic is portrayed in this one, and it's pretty much explained. But it's so high fantasy, I'm a little bit worried about that, but I've only heard amazing things about these books, so I'm thrilled to finally own these. Next up I bought Sisters Red by Jackson Pearce, which is another fairy tale retelling of, I think it was Snow White and Rose Red. I think it's called that in English. I only know the Dutch version, but I really like this story, and I mean, look at this cover. It's so shiny and pretty. It's a fairy tale retelling in our world. I believe it's a bit more urban fantasy now. So I'm really curious to start this. I don't know what to expect otherwise than this is a fairy tale retelling of one of my favourite fairy tales of all time. So yeah, let's see what I'll think about it. And the final book I got in the UK is Landline by Rainbow Rowell. I love Rainbow Rowell. I've read Fangirl, and that is one of my favourite contemporaries and one of my favourite standalones of all time. I've been really curious about Landline, even though it's more of an adult novel than young adult. It's about a woman who is not in a healthy relationship with her husband and children right now because she's putting work first. She can't come home for Christmas, and she calls him and she starts talking to her husband from the past, and she tries to start fixing stuff that went wrong in their relationship. Really curious because that idea could have so many bad endings, and I'm really curious to see what Rainbow Rowell makes of it. So those were all the books I got in the UK. When I got back, I felt like, I don't have enough books yet. So I ordered some more on the book depository, and I'm happy that I did. Well, first off, there are 2 books that I don't have with me because they're at my parents' house right now because I forgot to bring them here to my dorm after my holiday. So I don't have them. And those are Beautiful Sacrifice and Beautiful Redemption by Jamie McGuire. I love Jamie McGuire's Beautiful Disaster series, duology thing with Beautiful Disaster and Walking Disaster. I own both of them, and I also own Beautiful Oblivion, which I loved as well. And I've already read these 2 books, but they're like the other Maddox brothers. They're like book 2 and 3 of the Maddox brothers series. One is about Thomas and the other one is about Taylor. I think it's Taylor. And I'm sorry to say, but I didn't enjoy them as much as the other ones. They're way shorter. These are about 250 pages each. I did get into them, but I just don't know how I feel about these. I'm glad I bought them because now my series is complete as far as it's out. I think there's still 1 more book to go, and I'll probably read that anyway, but I don't know if it was worth that price in book depository, to be honest. Next up, I have a few books that I actually bought just because Maud of Reading Miss Froggy thought so highly of them, and I'm really curious to see what I'll think of them. First of all is a trilogy which comprises of Insomnia, Paranoia and Mania by G.R. Johansson, which is about a boy who, when he sleeps, he enters the dreams of the person he looked into the eyes of, like right before he went to sleep. He falls into dead dreams, and he basically isn't dreaming himself. And what happens with your brain when you're not sleeping yourself and you can't dream, which means it can't really progress the information that's got on during the day, so you're slowly going mad, and that is what's happening to the main character of this series. And he also finds a girl that if he looks into her eyes last before he goes to sleep, he can actually dream himself. So he's trying to look into her eyes last, and she feels like she's being stalked, but we don't know if that's the main character or some other character, so I'm really curious to find out how this ends up. It sounds really creepy as well. We'll see. This is a daylight book series, I think, for me. And the other book I bought because, well, Maud thought highly of it, and it's straight up my alley, and it is The Goose Girl by Shannon Hill, which is yet another fairy tale retelling of, well, the Goose Girl. And this one was also one of my favourite stories when I was younger. I was so curious to see how it changes into a bigger book and how it goes, how she changed it. I'm always curious to find like the little elements that I loved about the story and find them in a full-length novel. So we'll see. And isn't the cover pretty? It has all these different little elements. I already saw the horse, which made me really exciting because I want to see a talking horse head in this book. That's one thing I really want to see. Next up is one of my most highly anticipated releases of this fall, and that is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. I've already finished this. It took me less than 4 days to finish this book, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved how everything came together, and if you haven't read the series yet, you totally should. It's amazing. Amazing. And these covers just only get better. Look at the back. I love the back of these. They're so pretty. I can't believe I waited this long to start the series, and now I have to wait another year for the next book. Well, in the meantime, probably book 2 of A Court of Thorns and Roses is going to come out, which is a good thing. But I'll also have to wait for that then. I just want all the books of Sarah J Maas to be finished already so I can read them all in one go. That would be amazing. But I guess I'll have to settle for waiting another year. I also got The Immortal Crown by Richelle Mead. This is the second book in the Age of X series. The first book is, well, the first book is A Gambit of the Gods. It's about a world where religion is banned, and I can't really tell you much about it considering it's a sequel, but I really love the first book. Richelle Mead, this is, I think, one of her first adult series. This is purely new adult, and I really enjoyed it, and I think I probably should read her young adult books as well then. Next up is another sequel, and that is Miss Mayhem by Rachel Hawkins. This is the sequel to Rebel Belle, and I also can't really tell you much about it because it's a sequel. I think this is going to be a trilogy, so we have one more book to look forward to. I will definitely finish the series because I enjoyed the first book so much. And next up, I bought 2 books from the same series, and that is The Remnant Chronicles, Book 1, The Kiss of Deception, and Book 2, The Heart of Betrayal. This series has intrigued me with its concept of you don't know who the assassin is and you don't know who the prince is, and yet you're seeing both the point of views, but you don't know which is which. I'm really curious, like it's like a fun mystery, puzzling it out while reading. And I love the covers of these. They're just so pretty. And when I bought book 1, I just couldn't resist and had to buy book 2. And I love these in hardback because for the paperback you have to wait so much longer. And these are so pretty in hardback. So hi guys, sorry if it looks a bit different. My camera just died on me again. Before I got to show you the last book. I know I didn't completely finish with The Heart of Betrayal, but that was going to be just too much work to do that all over again, considering I'd already moved on thinking I'd filmed everything. But then it turned out I didn't, so yay. But the last book I wanted to show you, I actually bought to my local bookstore in the Netherlands, which rarely ever has any new British or English books. So I was looking around and then I came across this. Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs. And it wasn't due to come out for another 3 weeks. So I bought it. I still need to finish Hollow City, but I still bought this one. And I really love the concept of these books with the photographs inside them and everything. And it was just so weird to walk into a bookstore in the Netherlands and find a book that hasn't even come out in the US yet. That's just not something that really happens to us. So I'm really glad this one was there. Those are all the books I was going to show you today. Please leave me down below if you've read any of these books or if you want to recommend me maybe some other books. I am always on the lookout for new books because even now I'm already thinking about what books I want to order next. So yeah, I'm a book collector thing. I just buy books in bulk. Giant bulk. So those were the books. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye! Ooh, don't drop it!